Welcome to another episode of the Dreaming of One Day podcast, a podcast made specifically to help you fall asleep and dream of adventures in the Western Cape. You see, the science behind it is that guided imagery can help relax the mind and give the subconscious specific scenes and images to focus on, increasing the likelihood they'll show up in your dreams. As travel is limited right now, it's a perfect chance to explore the hidden treasures of the Western Cape, South Africa. It's the vacation of your dreams, in your dreams. Be sure to check out other episodes as well. We've been whale watching off the coast of Gans Bay and taken a dreamy afternoon stroll in the Boerkaap. Tonight, we'll be taking a gentle hike through the West Coast National Park in spring to see the fireworks of flowers in bloom. So when you're ready, let's begin. Try to relax. Make a decision to let your mind and muscles soften. There's no need to hold on to any tension right now. So give yourself permission to relax and get comfortable. Take a long, slow breath in through your nose. Feel the air fill your lungs and expand your belly. Hold it for just a moment and slowly release. On your next breath, breathe in to the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold it in for just a pause. Then slowly release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let your breathing fall into its natural rhythm. As far as outdoor activities go, hiking couldn't be much simpler. To begin, you extend a foot, either one will do, then put the other foot in front of the first, and repeat. It's not particularly complicated, but there's something uniquely profound in the simple pleasures of walking out in nature, taking in the view from a hilltop, feeling the sun and wind brush across your face. For a brief window around August and September, the usually restricted Postburg section of the West Coast National Park opens to the public. The tail end of winter, beginning of spring, brings a bit of spectacle as thousands of flowers bloom, covering the whole area in an explosion of color. After a short drive through the park, you arrive here at the Tarsbank Gate for the start of the hike. Already the vegetation has changed so much. Through most of the park, fynbos-covered plains and dunes gently undulate, flanked by the Atlantic Ocean on one side and the shimmering lagoon on the other. Known as the Strandveld, it's a sea of low bushes, tough and broad-leaved, otherwise green with only the occasional flash of red from the odd bright bulb. The park is home to plenty of animals. You had to stop the car several times on the way to let leopard tortoises pass, or to snap photos of zebra and gemsbok with their muscular necks and long thin horns protruding skywards in a V. In the distance, ostriches stride out on the dunes, their heavily feathered bodies moving dreamily across the yellow-gold backdrop of the sand. The gate is open at 9, so there's still a small chill in the air when you set off. The start of the hike is fairly easy. The ground below you is soft, almost like sand, making each step sink just a tiny bit. You look around the plains, stretching out flat and low far into the horizon. The flowers are still closed for now, waiting for the sun to climb higher into the sky before they'll turn to face it. You look up to see a pair of great white pelicans fly over. Their huge wingspans and heavy bodies make them look almost like Boeings. It's not surprising though. The area is known for its rich bird life. If people aren't here in the spring to see the flowers, they're down by the lagoon to spot some of the 800 bird species. You turn to look across the low-lying vegetation. A thin green line against a blue that seems to dominate. Occasionally, here and there, a giant rock juts out the ground like shards of dark glass or a pair of granite hands. You pass a formation that almost looks like it's praying. Finger-like spires rising up, thanking whatever God's brought it to rest here in this beautiful spot. The sun is steadily climbing the sky now, moving comfortably higher. If the sun had any hands, you bet they'd be like yours are now, hanging lazily behind your back. The light is beginning to wake the flowers. They peer out of their petals, just a whisper at first, a rumor of the colors that are about to burst. Following the path is easy here. It cuts through the ground like a tiny dry riverbed. Your mind wanders as it tries to place the various bird calls that fall from the heavens. You almost don't notice a tortoiseshell on your way. Its black and yellow pyramid patterns create a kaleidoscope you can't help to stop and admire. It's only then you realize you've missed quite a few. Looking around, you suddenly spot dozens of them peppering the surrounds. Some bigger, some smaller. Little rocks slowly rolling and rumbling through the shrubs. You wonder how far a small tortoise like this one could go. Looking out into the horizon, it seems an endless walk for 4 little legs. Walking hasn't changed much over the years, no matter how much the world around you has. It makes you think of the first people to walk here, the San. They've always walked here, and still do. Their ancestry is traceable all the way back to the birthplace of us all. While you walk, you try to imagine the first people walking here with you. Would they be as stirred as you are, being here? After a short while, you begin to climb a small hill, Konstapelkop. It's an easy climb. Only once or twice do you have to clamber onto the lichen-covered rocks. They're surprisingly cool to the touch, even in the warm glow of the sun. Reaching the top, you pause to take it all in. Surely, this is where the word breathtaking comes from, you decide. It seems anywhere you look offers a different view, so mesmerizing you almost forget where you are and how the world came to be. To the left, the endless Atlantic Ocean stirs and stretches out, rolling endlessly with the occasional white head of crashing wave rising and falling like mountain tops, or clouds lining a clear blue sky. To the right, the lagoon shimmers, houseboats and yachts bobbing in the turquoise waters of Kralbai, with Langebaan lying just beyond. You take a deep breath, trying to fill your lungs with the air you now picture as it rushes off the water and runs along the Strandveld, mixing with the wild scents and smells of the area. Vanilla, maybe, subtle and sweet. You try to make a note to remember it. It smells endless and free, like a feeling more than something. But for the first time in a while, you have the chance to look back across the plains. They're now covered in a blanket of colors. Fields of white and orange and blue flowers painted across the plains, woven between the rocks and the hills. It doesn't feel like the same place anymore. The sun is higher now and has brought the flowers out in full bloom. Thousands and thousands of flowers have opened and turned to face the light, like an orchestra readying for a performance. The ground below explodes into a dazzling patchwork of vibrant, varied daisies, into a choir of colors that put on quite a show. They almost shiver to life when the wind brushes through them. They're so excessive in their numbers, so exuberant in their cheerfulness, that you almost want to reach for your camera, because this should be saved for future reference somehow. But you decide not to. Perhaps this should be enjoyed for now, at this moment, and nowhere else. And this is where we leave you, sitting on one of the nearby rocks, high above a blanket of flowers that seems to fall at your feet and stretch out to the horizon, with your eyes closed and the wind rushing over the plains and up the hill, sprinkled with the call of the occasional bird, until you're able to visit again one day.